Are you ready to turn heads? Luxury isn't just worn, it's experienced. Introducing a Layla Cara style and new up-and-coming designer collection where exclusive shoes and bags for men and women meets your feet. How about you take a handbag and wear it in style, where each piece is personally designed by Layla Carroll herself and handcrafted from the finest material in Italy. Leather, smooth like butter, bold, timeless, distinctly you. Step into true elegance and make your mark with a Layla Cara style where confidence meets craftsmanship. Visit a Layla Cara style and experience the luxury of art that you wear. So this is chapter 6, the empath dilemma. And what I talk about in this chapter is about me being an empath, how I absorbed a lot of his emotions and how I was easily emotional and manipulated because of that. If you are an empath, that means that you absorb emotions of those around you. That means you have a good heart. You care for people. And that's one of the reasons why narcissists are attracted to us. They use those tendencies, their tendencies of exploiting us against us in that way. So, for instance, I remember when I started dating my husband, and we were just dating at this time. He told me, my second husband, he told me, you have a good heart. You care for people. I can tell that you're a good girl. That's what he said. And I'm like, a good girl, like I'm some child or whatever. Like, okay, whatever. But I knew he was right. But I didn't take heed to what he was really saying behind those words. Basically, if I would have took heed to that, it would have sounded more like this. You have a good heart. You're a good person, and I can tell that I can take advantage of you, and that's what I'm going to be doing this entire marriage that I'm with you. That's what he's really saying to me, but I didn't take it that way because I didn't know until after I was married, and I started getting into that in those situations of him taking advantage of me, not want to pay bills, not want to do anything that a husband is supposed to do. Oh, it goes deeper than what I wrote in the book. It's just, I only wrote what I felt that was necessary to talk about. So let's go ahead and do chapter 6.
Chapter 6, The Empath's Dilemma. I am an empath. I have a strong sense of empathy for others, and that is what drew me into the relationship and marriage to Nikita. The empath's dilemma refers to the challenging situation faced by individuals who possess a high degree of empathy when dealing with narcissists. Narcissists typically exhibit traits such as self-centeredness, a lack of empathy, and a strong need for admiration. The dilemma arises because empaths naturally feel and absorb the emotions of those around them, often to a heightened degree. When interacting with narcissists, empaths may find themselves drawn into a cycle of giving and receiving emotional energy, with the narcissists often taking more than they give. Empaths may feel compelled to help or support the narcissist, even at the expense of their own well-being. They may also struggle with setting boundaries or asserting themselves due to their empathetic nature. This can lead to feelings of frustration, exhaustion, and even self-doubt as empaths navigates the complex dynamics of relationships with narcissistic individuals. In essence, the empath's dilemma of narcissism revolves around the tension between the empath's instinctual desire to care for others and the narcissist's tendency to exploit that empathy for their own benefit. Finding a balance between empathy and self-preservation can be a significant challenge for individuals caught in this dynamic. Why empaths are often drawn to narcissists. Empaths are often drawn to narcissists for several reasons, despite the potentially toxic dynamic that can result from such relationships. Empaths' natural compassion. Empaths have a strong sense of compassion and empathy, often feeling compelled to help and support others, even those who may not deserve it. They may see the wounded inner child or the potential for healing beneath the narcissist's facade, which motivates them to try to connect with and help the narcissist. Desire for connection and understanding. Empaths crave deep emotional connections and seek to understand others on a profound level. Narcissists, with their charismatic and often charming personalities, can initially appear very attractive to empaths. Empaths may be drawn to the narcissist's competence and apparent self-assuredness, mistaking it for strength. Initial idealization. In the early stages of the relationship, narcissists often employ love bombing and manipulation tactics to win over their partners. Empaths, who are sensitive to the emotions and needs of others, may be particularly susceptible to this initial idealization and flattery. Unconscious patterns and familiarity. Empaths may have unconscious patterns or past experiences that make them more prone to forming relationships with narcissists. This could stem from childhood experiences, such as having a narcissistic parent or caregiver, which can influence relationship dynamics later in life. Desire to heal or fix. Empaths may have a strong desire to heal or fix others, often at their own expense. They may believe that they can help the narcissist overcome their issues or provide the love and support they need to change their behavior. Despite these initial attractions, relationships between empaths and narcissists often become emotionally draining and one-sided. The empath's giving nature can be exploited by the narcissist, leading to feelings of exhaustion, frustration, and emotional turmoil for the empath. Recognizing and understanding these patterns can be crucial for empaths to break free from toxic relationships and establish healthier boundaries. An empath needs to put their own needs first to break the cycle of narcissist exploitation. The toxic dynamic between empaths and narcissists. The dynamic between empaths and narcissists can be highly toxic, characterized by several key elements. Empaths overgiving and narcissists' exploitation. Empaths tend to give selflessly, often prioritizing the needs of others over their own. Narcissists, on the other hand, are inclined to exploit this generosity, taking advantage of the empath's willingness to give without reciprocating in kind. This imbalance can lead to the empath feeling drained, unappreciated, and emotionally depleted. Narcissists' manipulation and gaslighting. Narcissists often employ manipulation tactics to maintain control and power in the relationship. This can include gaslighting, where the narcissist distorts reality, undermines the empath's perceptions, and makes them doubt their own experiences. Gaslighting can leave the empath feeling confused, invalidated, and insecure in their own sense of reality. Empath's boundary challenges and narcissists' boundary violations. Empaths may struggle to set and enforce boundaries with narcissists, especially if they prioritize harmony and avoid conflict. Narcissists, recognizing this vulnerability, may push boundaries, disrespect personal space, and disregard the empath's needs and preferences. This can lead to a cycle of boundary violations and the erosion of the empath's sense of self. Emotional roller coaster. The relationship between an empath and a narcissist often resembles an emotional roller coaster, with highs of idealization followed by lows of devaluation and discard. The narcissist may shower the empath with love and affection one moment, only to withdraw or criticize them the next. This inconsistency can leave the empath feeling emotionally destabilized and constantly seeking validation and approval from the narcissist. Codependency and enabling behaviors. Empaths and narcissists can become enmeshed in a codependent dynamic, where the empath's need to care for and please the narcissist reinforces the narcissist's sense of entitlement and dependency. The empath may enable the narcissist's behavior by making excuses for them, covering up their flaws, or taking on responsibility for their actions. This codependency can be difficult to break and can perpetuate the toxic dynamic between the two individuals. Overall, the relationship between an empath and a narcissist is often marked by manipulation, imbalance, and emotional turmoil. Recognizing these toxic dynamics is essential for the empath to protect their well-being, establish healthy boundaries, and ultimately break free from the cycle of abuse. Strategies for empaths to break free from narcissistic relationships. Breaking free from a narcissistic relationship can be incredibly challenging for empaths, but it's crucial for their emotional well-being and personal growth. Here are some strategies empaths can use to navigate this process. Recognize the narcissistic pattern. The first step is to recognize and accept that the relationship is toxic, and that the narcissist's behavior is unlikely to change. This involves educating oneself about narcissism and understanding the dynamics of the relationship. Establish boundaries. Empaths often struggle with setting and enforcing boundaries, but it's essential for their self-preservation. Clearly communicate your boundaries to the narcissist and be prepared to enforce consequences if they are violated. Focus on self-care. Prioritize self-care and prioritize your own well-being. This may involve family and activities that bring you joy, seeking support from friends and family, and practicing self-compassion. Seek support. Reach out to trusted friends, family members, or a therapist for support. Having a support network can provide validation, perspective, and encouragement during this challenging time. Limit contact. Consider limiting or cutting off contact with the narcissist, especially if they continue to engage in manipulative or abusive behavior. This may involve blocking them on social media, avoiding places where you are likely to run into them, and minimizing communication to essential matters only. Focus on personal growth. Use this experience as an opportunity for personal growth and self-discovery. Invest time and energy in activities that nurture your interests, passions, and goals. Practice assertiveness. Practice assertive communication skills to express your needs, wants, and boundaries effectively. This can help you assert yourself and maintain your autonomy in relationships. Set realistic expectations. Understand that healing from a narcissistic relationship takes time and patience. Be gentle with yourself and set realistic expectations for your recovery journey. Seek professional help if needed. If you're struggling to cope with the aftermath of the relationship, consider seeking a life coach such as Imaging Coaching LLC, your stress management guide at www.imagingcoaching.com, a therapist, or counseling from a mental health professional who specializes in trauma and narcissistic abuse. Stay safe. If you feel that your safety is at risk, prioritize your physical safety above all else. Consider reaching out to local resources or organizations for support and assistance. Breaking free from a narcissistic relationship can be a challenging and gradual process, but with time, support, and self-care, empaths can reclaim their power and move forward toward healing and recovery. Prayer closet. About a week before our 1-year wedding anniversary, I had taken everything out of my walk-in closet and turned it into a prayer closet. I had Bible scriptures on the walls and prayers I have written about our marriage and some of our wedding photos. Nikita saw the closet and came in to sit down on the floor. He looked up at me and asked me to sit down and pray with him. I sat down and he took my hand and started leading the prayer. Father, I want to pray about my wife. She needs to be more submissive to me and get her to know that I am the head of this marriage, not her. She thinks she knows everything, and she doesn't. She is not all that. I broke loose from his grip to my hand. What kind of prayer is that? I am not the one who calls you out of your name. I am not the one who is not looking for a job and having you pay all the bills. I am not the one who is running from child support. I pray and ask the Lord to bless you every day. I pray for you more than I pray for myself. See, There you go being disobedient to your husband. Why did you snatch your hands away from me? He said. Disobedient. I am not a child. I am your wife. He leaned back and squinched his eyes at me. I do not like you. You make me sick. You are not all that. I don't know why God keeps giving you things, and not me. I heard the Holy Spirit tell me, be quiet. Don't say anything. That is not him talking right now. It's an unclean spirit. Let him talk. You get up from the floor and go outside. I did exactly what the Holy Spirit told me to do. It was still daylight, and I went for a walk around the apartment and started to pray. As I was praying, the Holy Spirit told me, go on a fast, and I will reveal to you what kind of unclean spirit that is. Then I will be strengthening you for battle to get ready for warfare. You are not fighting against flesh and blood. Day 3 on my fasting, I was in the kitchen in our apartment. It was my last day of fasting, and Nikita walked up to me. We had been discussing him getting a job. He didn't like what I was saying to him about helping me pay bills. He complained about being behind on his child support. I wanted to know how much he owed, and he would not tell me. I didn't understand why he was hiding the amount from me. Every time he got mail, he would put it in the trunk of his car to keep me from reading it. But one day I was able to get into his trunk when he was away in my car. I read the letters from the Attorney General, and the letter stated he owed about $79,000 for all 4 of his children, which 2 of them were grown. The oldest was over the age of 30 and had children of his own. On this day, I mentioned it to him and asked him why did he lie to me about the amount when we were dating. He got instantly mad and walked up to me with aggression, ready to hit me. He drew his hand at me ready to strike me. I looked up at him and looked him dead in his eyes. You Jezebel, I am not afraid of you. He paused for a second, then he grabbed me by the neck and slammed me to the ground. We wrestled on the kitchen floor next to the refrigerator. I reached to open the door of the Frigidaire and started hitting him with the door until he got up off me.
We'll be back after a quick break.
If you haven't already, check out my luxury shoe and bag collection, a Layla Cara style. Each piece is personally designed by me and handcrafted from genuine Italian leather. Whether you're dressing up or keeping it casual, these pieces were made to help you walk with confidence. Because real style starts from how you feel. Go to alaylacarolstyle.com and experience these bold, timeless, and completely all you. Check it out. You might find something you like.
When I stood to my feet, I reached for my cell phone sitting on the countertop. I am calling the cops. He snatched my phone out of my hand, and I tried to get it back from him, but could not. So, I ran downstairs to the neighbor's apartment and banged on their door. Call the police. I screamed through their door until the lady opened the door. When she opened her door, I heard you 2 up there. Are you all right? No, I'm not all right. He choked me and slammed me to the floor. Can I please use your phone to call the cops? Yes, sure, here you go. She handed me her cell phone. Call the cops, because I don't like his ass anyway. I knew she didn't like him because Nikita had gotten into a fight with her and her husband prior to this day, which the cops were called out then. When the officer showed up, Nikita had left our apartment. The officer came upstairs to take my statement and take pictures of the marks on my neck and legs, as well as the mess in the apartment. After he was done, he proceeded to tell me, I have been called out to many calls like this one before. I can tell you it doesn't end well. I understand that your wedding anniversary is only a few days away. But you need to divorce him. I knew the officer was telling me the truth, but I didn't like what he was saying to me, because I had already had one failed marriage and now another one. I just couldn't put myself through that again. While the officer was walking downstairs, I spotted Nikita at a distance. There he goes over there. I pointed him out to the officer. The officer walked up to him telling him to come to him. Nikita came up to him. I got your wife's statement about the fight. Tell me yours. By this time, I walked back upstairs and closed the door and locked it. Then opened the window so I could hear what was being said. Nikita told him the truth that he jumped on me. The officer went on to say, "Look, you cannot put your hands on a woman and vice versa. The two of you have a wedding anniversary coming up and you will be spending it in jail if I have to come back here. For now, I will need for one of you to leave the apartment and not to return for the night." When I heard the officer say that I already knew what time it was, I opened the front door. "I will leave. Just let me pack a few things and I will leave, because I do not trust him to not come back." The officer came back upstairs and waited for me to pack my things and put them in my car. Then he gave me a small flyer with a lot of numbers on it and attorneys to call, and I got into my car and drove to a hotel to stay the night. After I walked into my room and placed my bag down on the floor, I sat on the side of the bed and bawled my eyes out. I cried and cried for about an hour or so. As I was crying, I got a text from Nikita apologizing. In the text, he started sending me pictures of the two of us over the past 3 years of our relationship, showing how happy we were. Then he started sending photographs of our wedding in Las Vegas, telling me how beautiful I looked in my wedding dress, and how proud he was to be my husband. A part of me knew it was BS, but most of me didn't want to let go of my marriage so easily. I was sure this wasn't going to be the last time for us, so I went back home the next day. When I walked through the door of our apartment, he was in the living room. I looked at him with confidence in my eyes and tone. "If you ever put your hands on me again out of anger, I will divorce your ass, and never look back." He looked at me as if he wasn't sure if I meant that. But I meant every word of it. Chapter 7. Healing from Narcissistic Abuse.
So, in this chapter, I wrote about the first fight that we had, the first physical fight. So all the other fights we would have would be verbal. And in those moments of listening and hearing him call me out of my name, I have been called every bitch there could be. And just to hear that come out of his mouth, and I used to think like, man, I'm your wife. Why would you talk to me like that? You know, the thing is that I never returned the favor. There's many times that I thought about doing it, and I'll say, maybe if I call him a bitch and I started saying the same thing he say, then he'll know what it feel like. But I realized that I would have just been stooping down to his level. And prior to all that, like way before that, 10 years before that, I used to do that with my ex-husband. I mean, him with Eric, we used to fight all the time. And I didn't want to do that no more. I was different than the way I was back when I was in my 20s. In my 20s, like I said, I was feisty. I was a fighter. That's what I did. But then when I got in my late 30s, my early 40s, it was time out for all that. I had went through a lot of undergoing of self-evaluation for myself during the time when I was with Eric to the time I met Nikita. My problem was that my biological clock was ticking. I wanted to have children, and I felt that I was running out of time. So I was desperate to get married again and to start having a family, that I didn't put in perspective that I was with the wrong guy, and that no matter how long it took, God was going to take care of me. I just didn't see it that way. I saw it like, God, come on, time is just winding down. What we going to do here? I mean, I'm not Sarah And, come on, I ain't gonna have no baby at 100 years old. Like Sarah and Abraham, like, come on now. So what's up, And just the problem that I had with myself and not trusting God at the time that I got with Nikita, I felt like that was the reason why I ended up in that situation. And not only that, in my better judgment, I knew better. It wasn't like I didn't know this dude wasn't the one for me. I knew better when we was dating. I felt it and I saw the signs then, the craziness that he had in him with the stalking of the Facebook and all that other stuff. Every time I post something, you're there. It seemed like he had me on notification on his phone. I think he did. Matter of fact, I remember one time I posted something sitting next to him and his phone went ding. And I was like, I didn't think twice of it. So I posted something else just randomly and his phone went ding. And I was like, wait a minute. Every time I post something, his phone goes ding. So he literally do have a tracker on me on what I do when I post. And I didn't like that. So anyways, making a long story short, when it comes down to being an empath, you have to really start thinking about yourself. You come first, not them. Having that in mind will help you to be able to not let yourself be taken advantage of. And I remember when that cop came to the house and when he told me that I need to divorce him. I mean, he said it so plain, like, you need to divorce him. And I was like, wow, like, come on. I was in a state of denial. Like, I can't believe my marriage is over with already. We haven't even made it to the first anniversary. Wow, like, dang, I just already gotten out of a marriage 10 years prior to this. I say just like it was not that long ago, but 10 years is a long time. But knowing that marriage, my first marriage, didn't make it, it didn't survive, it was hard for me to put away the second marriage as easily as I did that first marriage. That first marriage was easy because I was so young and I still had time to meet somebody and have children, and plus it was easy for me because I didn't want to deal with seeing a kid come into the house that shouldn't even be here in the first place, at least not through that woman. She should have been here through me, and it didn't happen that way. So I couldn't stomach that situation. So it was easy to get rid of him versus me trying to get rid of the second one. I went through a lot of self-healing. I had to go through a lot of prayer. I had to do a lot of fasting. I had to trust God. I had to give God permission to step into my marriage and help me in the situation, because I'm telling you guys, it was not easy. Having migraines all the time, waking up not knowing what the day was going to bring through this man and how he was going to act towards me, and the things I was finding about him. And I was like, I started blaming myself. I started like, man, I'm just stupid. Why are you allowing this to happen to you? You doing this to yourself. And then I was like, I need a way out. Like, seriously, I need a way out. How do I end this marriage without having to feel like I just broke a marriage that wasn't grounds for divorce? But it really was ground for divorce, because the dude was not only just not paying bills, but he was abusive. So verbally abuse and emotional abuse is worse than physical abuse, because it sticks with you so long. It can be years later and you can still have those words implanted in your head. But physical abuse, you see the bruises and then all of a sudden it's not there no more. So that's why I had to tell myself, I am being abused. Just because he's not touching me, not meaning that, it doesn't mean that I'm not being abused. But when he touched me for that first time, I was like, okay, now you really allowing some things to go too far. And I say the first time because it did happen again, and I talk about it more in the book when it happened the second time, which was also the last time, but I go deeper into that a little later. So this is chapter 6. So chapter 7 is healing from narcissistic abuse. So I talk about healing from the second time that it happened, what I did to in that marriage and how I got out of that marriage. That's chapter 7. So stay tuned for chapter 7. Are you feeling overwhelmed and exhausted by stress? Introducing Stress Management with Imaging Coaching, your ticket to a calmer, more balanced life. In this journey you will be taken with us here at Imaging Coaching. We'll equip you with powerful techniques and tools you can use to conquer stress, regain control, and transform your life. From deep breathing exercises to mindfulness practices, you'll discover the tools to relax your mind and body. Come join us on this transformative path and unlock a world of inner peace and resilience. Don't let stress hold you back any longer. Take charge of your well-being today with Imaging Coaching, your stress management team. Discover clarity. Defeat stress through Imaging Coaching at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com, at imagingcoaching.com.